Wait, we started.
You don't have to.
Can I chug my chocolate milk real quick?
Go for it.
I don't want to sit here and just keep moving the cup.
Alright, chug the chocolate milk. Chug. You can't do it. Alright. 3, 2, 1. Alright, so we're back with our second installment into the Talk Louder podcast. This week we've thrown Noah to the curb and we have Zane Birdsong with us today. Zane, say hi.
What's up?
Yeah, this week we've changed up a little bit as per some of the stuff we heard from people who listened to it. Thank you so much for giving us feedback we didn't like. Now, Jacob, Tom, and I are all in the same room.
Hello.
Hi.
So hopefully our audio will be a little bit better and it won't, we won't.
I feel like conversation is going to flow differently.
Yeah, we won't be cutting each other off since we're in the same room.
Well,
However, we did just cut each other's off.
We
right
might
there.
still cut each other off, but I think it'll be more like normal conversation.
It'll feel more natural.
Exactly.
We're all in the same room, except for the guest who's not.
I do
which
think
is going to be a recurring thing. So.
I do think the sound quality might be worse right now, but we'll work on that.
And we also have to work with the issue that Jacob has internet that moves at a snail's
Stop.
speed, like randomly.
The thing is that like sometimes you have to step backwards to go forwards, you know. So we're taking some steps.
It's
Yeah,
true.
if that's what you want to call it.
Well, the thing is we fix some of the problems and then we get new problems, and we fix those and then we get new problems.
We're gonna refine this down, guys.
However it goes, we're going to change a little bit of how the overall theme of conversation goes, and that everybody, including the guests, will bring on some question, topic, talking point that could range from something really well researched and done a lot of examples of, or stuff like sort of like with the Spider-Man thing and the Disney thing, how I had a lot of examples of movies and it's sort of different point of views and all that stuff. And it's this really big conversation, or it could be literally anything. Is like the bread tie thing. Which, speaking of which, I think Zane listened to some of the podcasts. Did you do the bread tie bit? And if so, what do you do with your bread? Are you a tire or a twist and tucker?
What do you do with your bread?
I've never actually thought about that. I didn't think about it myself, like about what I do. My bed is just the place that I don't sleep in.
No,
sleep
your
in-
bread.
your
Your
bread.
bread.
My bread? I thought you said my bed.
No. How do you store your bread? Do you like keep the bread tie, or do you like twist
my
the
God.
thing and tuck it under the bread?
You know what's funny? This goes into one of my topics.
Okay.
Oh,
Kind of.
man.
It's
Perfect segue.
It's the same kind of like why would anybody think about that until you see it?
All right.
Oh no, I twist and tie.
Good. We're gonna
Yeah.
keep an
No.
ongoing tally of people who twist and tie and people who tuck and
My
Twist and
bed.
tuck.
Yeah,
Oh.
I was like, what?
use the
Like tuck.
Bread with an arm.
That's
Yeah,
what
you tuck yourself
Do
in
I
at night.
do I tuck myself?
tuck your
I sleep in my chair a lot
What?
because I just fall asleep here.
Oh my god, that sounds so
I'm-
uncomfortable.
I'm so used to falling asleep in anywhere other than my bed. Like when I was still at home before I came to Murray State, I would sleep on the couch just all the time.
Okay.
And the couch wasn't long enough for me.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I could get like sleeping on a couch. I couldn't ever imagine falling asleep in
Yeah,
like my
chair.
desk chair.
I agree.
Yeah, like I'm looking at Jacob's chair right now, and I think if I had to sleep on that, I think I would die.
It's just a
Mine-
wooden
It's just
chair.
like a wooden chair.
Mine doesn't meme like PewDiePie's does. Like it doesn't go all the
Okay.
way back.
Yeah, it's not 180.
No, it doesn't like lay down, but it reclines enough for me to feel decently comfy.
Not fair enough. I get that. But yeah, overall, we're changing some of the things of the podcast, with the topics and stuff like that. So it should be interesting. As always, just thank you so much for everybody who listened to it and said positive things about it, and for other people who said we're really reserved about giving negative feedback, because everybody I've spoken to was really excited about listening to it and was just
I heard
nothing but
this.
nice things.
I
That's what I
heard
heard from
this.
everybody. Even criticisms where they were like, they think you should change this because it would make it so much better. Like it was coming from an excited point of view.
Yeah.
It's positive criticism.
Yeah. Sorry, not negative criticism.
Yeah, it's positive criticism.
But also a huge shout out to Maddie, who made the static image that we used for the video.
She made that?
Yeah, she did that. And that
That's
wasn't
right.
even the one that we were talking. We've been talking for a while about her making something for the podcast, for the static image on YouTube. And she's working on it, and I've seen it, and it looks really good. And kind of blown away by it, but it wasn't about 40-50% done. There's still some stuff she's got to add to it. So she made the one that we are using currently as a placeholder for us.
Okay.
But I like that one so much that I think that we'll do something with it too. Where like that's the intro title card. I like having the guest stuff and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, massive shout out to her for doing all of that for us. It's totally awesome and we appreciate it so much. But anywho, as far as the topics and stuff going to go, sorry, you were going to say something?
I was going to say that I already like this much better because I can look at John's beautiful face as he talks.
Anywho, well, we've all apparently brought something to the table. Who wants to go first?
Okay, I'll go first.
Nice.
So, obviously, I think we all are into memes and video games.
Yes.
But like,
Yep.
one of the things that I like to do in my spare time is play trading card games.
Okay.
So I've been playing
Like
Magic
baseball?
the Gathering. Yeah, for sure. I've been playing Magic the Gathering for almost a double-digit amount of time.
Almost 2 weeks now.
And I ask this to a lot of people who play Magic or are interested in like the intrinsic value of collectibles. So like this could also apply to
Funko Pops?
like Funko
Funko
Pops or
Pops.
stamps
Pop
or
vinyl.
or like anything you could collect, like old toys,
Baseball cards.
So let's say you're at a flea market and a vendor has something that you know in its niche market
It's worth more.
is worth more than what they're selling it for, like a significant amount. So like in Magic, one of the
It's
most
like
common
this.
examples is that you will see something called the dual lands
Oh no, that's wrong.
at like flea markets because they're old, and people who played Magic when they were kids or whatever, you know, on the sidewalk will have these cards, and these cards are worth thousands of dollars, and they'll be selling them for, you know, like $1 or whatever.
Yeah.
Is it your responsibility as a person who knows their worth to say, hey, this is worth much more than you think it is?
No.
No.
My mom actually has at the Peddler's Mall in Georgetown. She has boots because my mom does antiques and stuff. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well,
because
I think
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say if it's someone you know, I think maybe you should just be like, hey, you know, you can get money off of that. But if it's just like a vendor, you might as well just like buy it for the 50 cents.
I think the thing is like if you are the person selling it, like that's part of your like
Job.
sort of your job is
Oh,
to,
like to
even if it's just
research?
like knickknacks, cleaning out your stuff, like
Right.
a really like popular example. It's probably not so popular anymore, but in the past is like the Action Comics issue #1, the first one that Superman ever showed up in. That and like any decent condition is worth several thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, I
How
think
much is
also
actually worth? I don't know.
it's like what like vendors like that they assume just because it's like this like thick piece of paper with just like a drawing on it. They're not gonna think like, oh man, this must be like worth a bunch because it's just like it's like a toy to them. Like it wouldn't matter.
what I'm gonna say is that like so again, since my mom does this kind of stuff, even like the vendors amongst themselves will buy each other's stuff at the hopes of selling it for more. So I really don't think they mind you. You know, if you win over them, good on you. I don't think they really care.
See, I come from a perspective of not okay. So
You work in a store where you can check the
I
values
come
of the
from
prices.
a perspective where I'm not going to say that I definitively know the value of any given, you know, Magic the Gathering trading card at a given time, but I know that some cards are worth a lot of money, and as part of my job, I have to give people when they come to give them to the
Solid
store,
advice.
I give them what the card is worth. So I come from a background where if I saw somebody selling what I know is an expensive Magic card, and they're trying to, you know, make money off of the things that they're selling, I would tell them this is worth a lot of money. I want to buy it for the price you're selling it at, but I know you can get more. I want that. I see because I'm as a player of the game, I also want to find a deal like that and be like, yes, I'm saving literally thousands of % of money here, but like I also want the people who took an interest in the game to
Make
feel
more.
rewarded for taking that interest in the game.
Interesting.
Well, I guess it depends
I
on
think
the
that's-
environment too. Like if if it's someone coming into your comic store, like an established place of business, like we buy and sell this card, like that's part of their culture. Versus if you go to the flea market and someone's like, my son used to play, but he's gone, and I got a box of his old cards.
That's
I'm
true.
just giving them away for $10 for a handful or something because they have no idea what it's worth.
They're worth nothing. To
Yeah.
me.
In that scenario, that person could have gone and researched it, or gone to a place like where you work, where it is established that you have knowledge about the cards, and like the set value of the cards is known. And you're not going to cheat anybody over. You're going to get the value of what one of your places would actually pay for a card. Versus if you're just like selling some junk and you don't do the research on your own, that's on you. If you sell something that's a diamond, but you're not a part of the culture, so you don't know what it is. That's on you as a salesperson because you're just clearing out junk. I assume some people just never associate value to certain things.
I do think that's a very admirable and respectable point of view to be like, hey, this is worth a lot more than what you're selling it at.
I think it's very kind.
I do too. I also think that is the more that I'm hearing about this, the more I'm like, wow, I'm kind of a jerk. Because like, no, I would just take it. But
I think it would depend on like the place. Like if I went to a yard sale and it was like
No, I
some
was about
old
to say.
grandpa and he's like, my son passed away and I'm just trying to pay my bills. Here's
My
all his
son's
old
dead.
Pokemon cards, and like I knew some stuff was worth a lot. I'd probably be like, man, you need to go take this
Yeah.
to like a place or sell it online.
No,
Like,
'cause
you're gonna make
I was
way
about to
more
say-
money off this one thing.
I was about to say, like, if you see something at like, I mean, you could find stuff at like a Goodwill somehow. Like if you're there, if like a Goodwill or just some like market where they just have a ton of stuff, like then I think I would just go ahead and get it. But if it was like somebody specifically, like the grandpa with the deceased grandson or whatever, yeah, I would probably be like, yeah, here's $1,000 for that thing.
Yeah, and I guess also too, it's a part of you talk about magic and you said stuff. We're back to green.
Oh, good.
Okay.
I was just freaking out for a second.
If you're like you talk about how much you're into magic and it's a big part of your life and stuff. If it's something you're passionate about, then yeah, you want to talk about it and stuff like that. And you would probably be more amped in a scenario like that to be like, hey, this is
Well, I think
actually worth this, like because the part of the whole thing about the game and the trading card and collectibles and stuff like that. Not even just trading cards, collectibles. It's the fact that these things are so rare, and some people. You would hate to be the person who didn't know that you had that.
That's exactly.
Well,
I would hate to sell something and then later learn that it's worth a lot more. Not that
Right,
I
it's
would
like
be
you
the
got
kind of
cheated.
person that would be like, I demand my money back, but I would feel really defeated at that point. I would be like,
You feel very cheated about it.
I would feel like I'm an idiot. I would feel like somebody has pulled one over on me. I would feel very bad about it.
But
And I also don't want other people to feel that way.
But it also sounded when you were originally saying that you also wanted to like respect older players that weren't really in touch with the price of the cards anymore.
Yeah, I was saying that I want people to feel rewarded for their investment in the game because ultimately, if somebody remembers their hobby with kindness, and let's say that they're going to be in their mid-30s, mid-40s, and they're having children, and they remember that when they were a kid, they really liked playing this trading card game. Maybe they let their kids play it, and maybe their kids have the same experience. Because as a player of any game, I want more people to play the game. That's not just about Magic or any video game that I play. That's anything. Because nobody wants to do stuff alone, and I feel like if you try to take advantage of as many people as possible, you discourage people from actively playing the game.
I think we're all in agreement that
I
if
agree with
you're
that.
going out like trying to scam somebody, like somebody we know,
yeah, no,
that's why I'm bringing it up.
like actively like telling people that their stuff isn't worth whatever, like going to you don't know me.
I know, but that's T. Anyway, continue.
Oh, sorry, it's nobody. It's
not a name. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Drama.
But like, I disagree with that, and we've had this conversation when it got brought up to us several years ago. I think I whether you're a part of the culture, whether you're not, I think that's pretty terrible behavior to go around and be like actively looking to make profit on someone's misinformation about what they've got. But if you're just in like a Goodwill where it's not even their stuff to begin with, it's donated stuff, the true owner's long gone.
Yeah,
I think you
that's
just
fair,
say,
too.
"Hey, I found $20 on the side of the road today," and then you just walk out there.
Yeah,
You're on your face.
I think it's a completely different like category if they've donated it to somebody to try and profit off of. Because at that point, it's the establishment's business to sell it at the correct.
I'm not going to tell Goodwill that they've got like, oh, the author actually signed this comic book. It's worth 400% more than what you're selling it for.
I feel like some Goodwills will just be like, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I feel like some Goodwill employees just would not be paid enough to care.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's interesting.
That's interesting. I like that. That was good.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something that I like to ask like people that I know have hobbies that involve like some sort of monetary market. So
Right.
But I think like with anything with collectibles, like that's part of the reason you love it so much is whether it's cracking open a pack of cards or whether it's going to these yard sales looking for something or having something passed down from like father to son or whatever. It's like, oh, this is my signed baseball. I got it this, or I caught this at this game. I keep using baseball as an example because that's what's coming to my mind as sports memorabilia, or like a signed jersey or something that gets passed down. And maybe it's a player who wasn't that good, but then did something amazing and it goes up in value. That's like sort of the spirit of collecting, is how much these normal objects, once they're attached to this culture, can then multiply in value to the people who are a part of the culture. Like for me, let's just say something that's really big that I really don't care about. Magic.
Nice.
The thing you're passionate about. So aside from cards, because that's literally just a piece of cardboard equating to value, but let's just say from a more hardcore person's point of view, all the cards have different illustrators.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah.
And they say that at the bottom. What if you were to get a card that was a pretty rare card for the set, like a mythic rare or something, but nothing like that you see on those top 10 forums on the internet, nothing like a Black Lotus or those whatever split lands, something that's like goes card, which is on the top charity per like run of cards that they print. But you went to some convention and the artist was there and he signed it. To me, if that was given to me, holds no value because I'm not a part of that culture and I don't really care.
Right.
But
It's like it's
you
subjective.
Say to you who play Magic, say, what if that was the card that you used in one of your decks for standard and you had a lot of fond memories.
Ooh, if I had a Rebecca Gway signed Guy's Blessing for Black Green Citadel, that would be sick. That'd be so good.
So he's really excited about something that I was making an example of for, and I have no idea what it was. So if I had fallen into my possession, I would have looked at it and be like, and I would have showed it to you because I know you're really big into Magic and part of that culture. I'd be like, hey, do you want this? I will give it to you for, if it was like a $20, $30 card, I'd be like, I'll give it to you for $20. I would completely ignore the added value for the signature and just sell it to you for the face value of just the card, because I know that it means more to you with that signature than just its face value does as a card.
Yeah.
I would have at least added a few dollars. I'm not gonna lie. I would have been like 25.
I'm the kind of person where if somebody like had offered me that, like a card that is clearly worth more than its market value,
you'd want to give them more.
I would tell them. I'm the kind of person that would go out of my way to correct them.
Well, I feel like that the autograph thing, it's hard to quantify market value.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say this is how much more it's worth. I would say, hey, you've got a rarity here. It's signed by the artist. That doesn't happen a lot. It's worth more than you think it is. But I don't know how much more.
It depends on like who would want to buy it. Because I mean, like you
Yeah.
go on, like if you're trying to sell it on eBay, depending on the day, you could either get a bid that's like, oh, $100 or something that's like $100,000.
Damn.
Just if they see it.
A near mint Alpha Black Lotus sold at auction on eBay, I think for like $300,000.
Jesus Christ, yo.
So,
Sorry.
I don't know. You said $100,000, and I thought about that.
No, but that's like a good example.
Just to get to, I'd say, a large part of the population, just a little piece of.
The only card we ever played was Pokemon, so.
The Pokemon trading card game is pretty kick-ass.
I had fun as a kid, but I honestly wasn't good at it, and I'm one of those people, like, if I play a game and I get bad at something, I don't really enjoy to continue playing it.
Yeah.
I'm the exact opposite way. Well, I shouldn't say I'm the exact opposite because there are certain games that I play and I'm bad, and I know that they're the kind of game that if I keep playing, I'm only going to get marginally better, and then I don't enjoy it.
I feel that.
But like my prime example of that is League of Legends, by the way. But I think having a game like Magic, where I can sit down and it's not about, how fast I spot something or how quickly I'm capable of doing something. It's about how much information can you fish from your opponent based on what they're doing, based on what you're doing, and how they're interacting with you in the medium of the game. That's why I really like those games, is because it's not necessarily these grand strategy type things where you're doing like Rain Man calculations. But there is a strategy to it where you're figuring out why they used a certain card versus another card you might think they have, or why you might be making certain decisions with the cards in your hand that they know you might or might not have. Mm-hmm. It's about a lot of hidden information and how you're interacting with your opponent.
So is Magic anything like Yu-Gi-Oh?
I haven't played a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, but from what
I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh. I just have watched it like forever.
So Magic, so the thing with card games, and normally with any card game, any trading card game, it has a competitive scene to it.
Right.
The general, I would say, flow to it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because you played more, but the three that I played, which are probably the biggest three known, is Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and
Magic. Yeah, those are the three largest.
You have a currency separate to the other things in the.
Yes, you have a resource.
Yeah. So to equate it in the sense that people who don't play card games, it's like if you were building an army, you need money to build the army, but your army is soldiers. You can't put money on the battlefield and win. But you use that money to build an army. Yeah. In Pokemon, it's that with energy. Yeah. In Magic, it's that with mana. Through lands. In Yu-Gi-Oh, it's weird because it's that with your soldiers are your money. Yeah. There's a lot of you have to use smaller monsters to sacrifice
to tribute
bigger ones,
larger monsters.
And I never
ways around it.
I get you.
All right, there's going to be a really hard cut there somewhere at the end of that last conversation because we lost internet for a bit.
Sorry.
You can imagine recording a podcast with someone on the other side of the state. It's a really important thing.
Yep.
Wait, Zane, where are you?
Oh, I'm in Murray, Kentucky.
Okay, not that far. Oh, other side of the state. He said states, like he was like in California.
No, other side of state.
My bad.
State.
State singular. Kentucky pride.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Okay. So
it's the distribution of lions in the world, present versus historic.
So, at the end of the last thing, wherever that cuts, I won't know until the night editing. We talked a lot about that. I guess my big thing bringing into it was, interesting enough, how Zane and I actually met. If Zane remembers.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it's all-state choir, high school all-state choir. I remember when we met, but I don't remember like the reasoning or like the how. I just remember that at one point I was in your room playing guitar.
And then there was the one night where I snuck out, the last night where I snuck out of my, because they were really strict. So for all-state choir, if no one's ever been to all-state choir, it's for Kentucky, they cram us into this really nice hotel in downtown Louisville, and for 4 days we are professional musicians with practice time and scheduled dinners and everything.
Like the practice time, it's like 5 hours long.
Yeah.
But
you wake up and they're like, breakfast, now go practice until lunch, and then lunch, and now go practice until dinner, and then you get 10 minutes of free time. Now go to sleep.
Yep, that's it.
No, there's a little bit more free time in there. It wasn't awful. It's actually a whole lot of fun. I really miss doing those. I was thinking about that the other day too. Is I know we hung out a lot that year, and then I met up with you the next year. But I don't remember what made us cross paths initially. I want to say it was something to do with I had I Fight Dragons merch on, I think.
Oh my god.
Because I think it was that rubber bracelet, and you
Yes,
saw
it totally
that,
was.
and
'Cause
then
I
we
like
started talking
freaked because I was like, oh my god, somebody else knows who I Fight Dragons is.
which is a band I saw at Warped, and they're small. I don't expect any of you
I
to
don't know who I Fight
They're
Dragons
really
is.
cool.
It's like
Name their best song.
oh god, John, you go first.
It's probably not their best song, but it's my favorite.
Yeah, your favorite song. What you would think is their best song.
I think a really good thing was in their newest album, their last album, is Jimmy and Sally. But
Oh, that's a
basically,
really good
because
one.
you have to know, it ties in a song they did earlier, and that album is supposed to be played from the first song to the last. You're not supposed to jump around that album.
Yeah, it's like a concept album with a story.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like 2112 by Rush.
I love 2112.
It's
All right,
that
I'm
same
listening to this
idea.
album when I get home. It's how you're
Well,
hyping it up now.
So the style it's like a rock band, but then they've got like chiptune like stuff
Yeah.
all over it.
Okay.
So the reason I went to go see them at Warped is they had a giant tent covered with pixel art. And I was like,
Yes.
that's the coolest tent here. We're going to see them play. And then I met with them afterwards and got their autograph and everything. And I'm like, I like you guys. And then I started
Wait, what
listening
year
to
was
them.
that?
Whoa, goodness. 2014?
You were there? And wait, it's like, did you go to
Well, I
Nashville?
mean, no. I went to
Oh,
Riverbend.
okay.
I
Okay.
was going to say
like,
the
oh
stars
my God.
align.
Yeah,
Oh
we
my
actually met
God.
long before. That's back when I had purple hair and everything. But yeah, so
Purple
he said,
You
hair?
had purple what?
I'll show you guys later.
I've known Jonathan since I was like 1 year old, and I didn't know.
Well, yeah, but there was also several years
I
we didn't
actually
know each
did
other.
know that.
Yeah. Here's 2014. I was right. Yep, there's their tent.
That's crazy.
I'm showing you guys.
You're insane.
For the audience out there, this is a picture of
Jonathan's going to
Jonathan
put this
with a-
picture on the
in front of a
podcast.
tent.
All right,
He
I
has
will-
purple highlights in the front of his hair.
I will
and there's
flex
4
my
dudes behind him.
editorial muscle, and you will see this image. And yeah, there's a little bit of my purple hair.
Whoa. You were so epic. Why aren't you that epic now?
And I dinner, and it was like, you're not allowed to leave your room. But on the last night, most leave. But if you came with like your school on a bus, you would stay that night. You would all leave in the morning.
Yeah.
After every performance. And then Zane and all of his friends from their school were all huddled up in one person's room, and their choir director knew about it, so he was like, yeah, you guys can hang out here. And I had to sneak from the top floor where I was standing down, and there's like guards around, like it was like
Oh my God, I forgot
like
about
Solid
that.
Snake something.
Had to do, like-
I was literally like bent down, hiding behind like the rails to get there. And at some point, my choir director found out that I wasn't there, and he was assuming I was doing worse things. And much later on, I told him, I was like, no, I was playing Cards Against Humanity and eating pizza with my friends.
Yep.
That was actually a really fun night.
Oh man, I do miss that now.
I have a similar story to that, actually.
That was also the year that I think the girl ran up and kissed me.
That's epic.
Randomly.
Wait a second.
Zane didn't know Jonathan was getting a hot piece.
Zane was that girl.
Zane was that girl.
That's how we met, actually. Zane ran up and kissed me.
You like I Fight Dragons? Big smooch.
Oh yeah.
No, that's a should I tell it? No, it's a little bit long story.
That's how we should tell it from now on.
Zane kissed me. No, the short of it was there was like a bet going on between some other group of girls from their school. Kissed some dude there. The one who did had to buy the group coffee. A really dumb game they were playing. But the girl who kissed me had never kissed anyone before, and they were like, we don't want to make her first real kiss that. So she stage kissed me, where they put their thumbs over your lips. So she just kissed her thumbs.
Yeah.
So like sort of you like caress somebody's face in your hands, but then you put your thumbs over their lips, and then you just kiss your thumbs.
Okay.
A guy did that. A guy did that to me at a church camp.
Nice.
That's awesome. That wouldn't happen at church camp.
Yeah, exactly. If it didn't have the thumbs, that couldn't have happened at church camp. But with the thumbs, it's fine. So it was funny because she basically just kind of like sprinted up out of nowhere, did that, and then ran off. And I was stood on like a balcony in the interior of the hotel, like what?
Stunned, as if the moment would last forever.
It wasn't like love. It was like the gears quit, like they all misaligned in my brain. I couldn't finish a thought for a second because it was so jarring. because I was like, oh, we're already so far deep into the story. I might as well finish the bits. Is that I was walking around because I was like, this kids from all over the state. There's all these people hanging out, cool people like Zane. I'm like, I want to meet some people.
Aw.
I want to hang out with people. And all my roommates, who because you room with people from your high school, were like, no, we want to go to bed. And then one of them was like, oh, I'm hanging out with this other person I know. And then no one wanted to hang out with me to go hang out with new people. So I was like, fine, I'll go. And I walked all around for like 30 minutes and everybody was like busy or people didn't want to talk to me. And it was like, and then I was a little shy. I don't like walk up to groups of people. Didn't really think it out too well in my head. I wasn't like me now who would just go up with a deck of cards and start doing magic tricks. But yeah, so I was like, I just gave up and I was like, well, I'm going to bed too. And then I was like 10 feet away from my room and then that happened. And then I was like, oh.
Oh
okay.
my God.
Yeah, it was funny. It's a good story. I told it at the end of choir.
I have a similar story to that, but mine's not about music. Mine's about aerospace. So I used to go
space camps.
Yeah, to a summer camp called Space Camp in Huntsville, Alabama, and I think that camp is really, really stellar. I can't recommend Space Camp enough to, anybody whose kids might have an interest or anybody who would have an interest. And so basically, when you are like, because Space Camp is from a certain age range, it's like from ages, I think like 11 or 12 to like 15, basically, is when you're like allowed to enroll at Space Camp. And the last year you can go to Space Camp, you can do an advanced, what's called like Elite Space Academy. It's just like a fancy name. It basically just means instead of being at the camp for 7 days, you get to be at the camp for 12 days. So,
and you go to space.
And you go to space.
Yeah.
So it's 12 days, 11 nights, and you're assigned to a team, and a team typically has, some number of people on it. I don't remember the exact number. So I'm going to describe the dorms just to try. So they were, imagine like a rectangle, but you walk in and there's a bunk bed in one corner, a bunk bed along all one side opposite the door. And then along the side that the door is on, there's a bunk bed and then a desk, which has a ladder and another bed on top of it. So like it's like a bunk bed if the bottom bunk was a desk. And then along the short wall, there's another set of bunk beds. So
it's 5 people in there?
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people in a room.
Oh, that's a lot more than what I had in my head.
Yeah. So
it's a busy room.
Typically, your team has 2 rooms, and one of them's typically not full. But there was a kid on a team who wasn't on my team, who was so not fun to be around. I just think it's so funny that like the kid made himself so unlikable that everybody had to leave his room and come stay in ours because we were right next to each other.
See, but he kind of won in that situation. He got his own room.
Yeah, I mean that's true. He did get the luxury.
I don't know.
suite.
You go to a camp where you're like,
Epic
I'm gonna
win.
meet people, and everybody doesn't want to hang out.
Oh, he hated those things. Like, I want my own room. And
Yeah, that's true.
he just 4D chess.
But
he's the real genius.
The
His name Donald Trump.
What really ties this to the other story was that you're not allowed to have people that aren't in your team in your room, and B, you're not supposed to exceed the bunk capacity of your room. But I had a really cool counselor who didn't really care. And the first time somebody showed up in our room that wasn't supposed to, everybody that was supposed to be in the room would leave on time. Everybody that wasn't supposed to be in the room was just supposed to stay a couple minutes later and look like they were late to like the morning meeting, so to get in their groups or whatever, so that they wouldn't get like caught for not staying in their room or whatever. Because nobody miraculously snitched on them.
But yeah, it was the start of all this was talking about how I met Zane through that, and then talking about you a bit, Zane. I don't know if this spurs on to anything you wanted to talk about today. I don't think it is because you were talking about the sandwich thing. How it was related to that. You guys were talking about when the internet went out. Zane does a lot of. You may want to describe this a whole lot better than I do because I don't have any understanding of it. But you basically make your own music.
Yeah, no, I write a lot. I don't ever call me a DJ because I don't do that.
I
It's
had a wedding
weird.
coming up that I needed you to DJ.
You know, it's funny. So does
John's
someone
getting
else here.
married.
Someone here was like, "Oh, you DJ?"
My mom thinks you're getting married.
Ignore that.
No.
Ignore that.
Well, the reason why is because my setup. I don't know if you have like any idea what a launch pad is.
I do because you showed me.
Right.
I've heard about it.
They're the big things with all the buttons
Mhm.
on them that
They like light
you
up.
you
and
have
can,
no
like,
idea.
Yeah, they basically like trigger different sounds and stuff. I've got a new one that it's arcade buttons and they've got lights on them that like do a whole
Whoa.
spectrum thing. It's cool.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool.
You gotta
Yeah.
send me a picture of that, and then I gotta put that up for the podcast.
Oh yeah, here. Let me just Snapchat that to you real quick.
All right.
And now here's the image.
Yeah. Right.
But
But no, it's like right. It's plugged in right now, and what it's doing like a what's the keyboard, like the keyboard and mouse that does like the whole spectrum
Oh,
lighting.
like chroma lighting.
It's like that. That's what it's doing right now.
Oh, it's just like pulsing colors.
Kind of, yeah. It's just like this nice wave of color. It's really cool. I'm in love with this thing.
Okay.
But
I think anything with like LEDs or that changes light, barring your lamp.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm a sucker
You
for
don't like my
LEDs.
lamp?
I don't like when your lamp changes. I like when these strips along the walls change color.
Jonathan likes
The
gamer
lamp
gear.
works with
Confirmed.
I know that it works.
So
with
that's what
them.
I call that stuff. I call that stuff gamer gear.
Gamer gear.
Jonathan made fun of my lamp.
No, I think the lamp's cool. I just don't. I agree with
It's not
because
as
Tom
cool.
was talking about how it's too like fierce. It
Yeah.
changing when the main light source in the room is going from like cyan to hot pink to
Well,
green to yellow.
It's not that I necessarily think that it like shifting colors is bad. I think that like if you have a light source, it should never be unless you're like literally in control of the lighting for like a club. Should never be that vibrant. Like
That's
it should
what I'm
always be
saying.
like a softer color.
See, I actually don't mind the colors, but also I don't like the changing colors either, though. That's what I was saying. This kind of hurts my eyes to look at. I had to look away. But like the colored light itself doesn't bother
I
me.
have to screenshot the Snapchat.
In my life,
Oh, it's a video, Zane. I can't save that.
Oh, it's okay, hold on. It's my bad.
He just took a screenshot of
I
it.
got a screenshot of it. It's cool.
Oh, you screenshot the video. Okay. Yeah. No, that's what it looks like. Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's very brief, so you guys didn't get to see it. But
I just saw you screenshot it.
but no, like I like that. Just like just something that sits in your room that changes color, and like the chroma keyboards. I own one. I love the thing. My mouse does it. I think the lights around your room, that's cool, but like the big light source, like the lamp. I don't know. Personal opinions. But yeah,
I mean, anything that strobes, I'll take.
But yeah, I agree. I'm a sucker for LEDs. And Zane
Yeah.
makes his own music a long time ago, and I was like, I'm going to be a game developer. I reached out to him. I was like, you
Oh
want to make
yeah.
music for my game?
For your
And
game.
then I went like, I spent a lot of time into the game dev. What were they? I don't know what they're called. They're basically like the RPG Maker things that you can buy on Steam, but they were like game dev kits.
Yeah.
And it would
Oh,
just
like
give you all the
Unity?
tools to make you. Well, no, it was like called game dev something. I got it on
so
Humble
Oh.
Bundle.
it's like a game you get on Steam. It's called RPG Maker.
Well,
and
it wasn't
Okay.
RPG Maker. The one
Right,
that I bought was
okay.
actually for making various games, and it teaches you like systems and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And like I did a lot of the I spent a lot of hours in the tutorials. I made like a snake game, and I wanted to make a platformer, but then I started dabbling into it, and I was like, I have no idea what I am doing. And then it's like, start coding, and I was like, I'm going to college. I'll learn how to code there. And then I was like, I hate this.
I took a computer programming class.
I think it's very
Yeah.
interesting.
You
I
know,
just
just a
could
lot
not
of
do
computer
it.
programming classes.
You?
It's me.
What languages do you do?
Anything that my
C++.
professor tells me to learn.
I did C++. I did Java.
I've done C, C++, C#, Python, Java. I taught myself some Perl a while ago, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to need to know SQL and PHP for my database course this year.
I've done Microsoft Word and Excel.
Wow, it's exciting. PowerPoint.
Arguably harder than what
I did
I'm-
Yeah,
PowerPoint.
arguably harder
I'm
than computer programming.
If you can use Excel,
I-
that's way more marketable than.
no, I am
Oh.
I'm certified in Word.
Oh,
Oh,
I have a
man.
I have a certification for Microsoft Word.
I did that because they gave you extra tassels for graduation in high school if you got certified in Word and Excel. So
What? I didn't get
Yeah.
extra tassels. What?
I did so much the last 2 months of high school. I got like 90% of my tassels then.
I had one
Oh,
tassel.
no, they're not
I did
tassels.
too.
What are they?
I had one tassel and no adornment.
Tassel's the one that's on your hat. What's
It's
the one that
the-
go around your?
Oh.
Sash. It's just called a sash.
No,
No,
not a
it's
sash
the,
because a sash is like the actual. Like, they're just
Yes, your
rope.
cords.
Oh,
Cords, yeah, cords. I
Okay,
got
yeah,
90%
yeah.
of my cords in the last 2 months of high school.
I legit thought you meant like you got like extra tassels, and I was like, what?
No, you got an
I've
extra
never seen
tassel
that.
for being like
Because we're family
career
friendly.
ready,
Never mind.
and they gave you like a little keychain to put on your hat. I had that, but career ready
No,
at
I
South
didn't.
Laurel High School was having a pulse and being at graduation.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The word tassels gives me a weird image.
No,
Please leave that in. Now you gotta leave that in.
no. I've cut a large gap of it, but basically Jacob wants to say
Thank you.
2.
Cammy's mom.
There we go. All
The
right.
nice lady.
I like the motion Jonathan was making to Jacob just then to direct him to say things.
But
Yeah.
no, yeah. So yeah, I make music. I have been making music since I was like 13, 12. And like in the beginning it was because of video games, because just video game music in general is like some of my favorite stuff.
I get that.
Like old Sonic, I love. There's a game called Cool Borders 2 for the PlayStation 1, and it's all like metal and like rock and like punk and that kind of style. And it's like I could think back to like any game from my childhood or even like recent and just immediately recall like any melody or stuff like that, just because there's so much music in games that impacted me. And then that just became me trying to make music that
Did
would
you
go
like
into
the-
video games.
Did you like the music in Jet Set Radio?
Oh my god, yes.
Jet Set is so good.
It's
that game.
like one of the weirdest soundtracks, but it's so perfect.
It's a really weird.
I listen to the
like,
Jet Set Radio soundtrack constantly.
cyberpunk
It's really
game
good.
Oh
where you
my
just
God.
play as-
I've heard of it.
Oh.
Logan loves the game. I've just
Yeah.
never personally
I'm just a
played it.
graffiti artist, basically, but you're an anime kid. I guess, yeah, spurring on from you making music, and you're talking about, it's a lot of different genres in there, with the one with the rock and the metal and stuff like that, but like Sonic and stuff like that, I guess you could describe as like chiptune, right? Or, like,
yeah,
8-bit
yeah,
sort
for
of
like
music.
lack of a better term, yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say is so are they the same, your favorite genre and your favorite genre to make music for? So your favorite to listen to and your favorite to make, are they the same or are
Oh,
they different?
man.
And then why?
Well, it's like it depends on the artist that I'm listening to, because like right now I am really into I'm into like I don't know if you'll know who any of these people are. Wolf Alice, who's kind of like, there's some pop in there, but it's like a lot of it's guitar heavy and some of it's really grungy. There's Muna, which is like very like synth pop
I've heard
style.
of Muna before.
Yeah, I love Muna. Their new album came out like 2 days ago or something, and it's so good. And then Half Alive. Do you guys know who that is?
Yes, I was literally pulling up music
Yeah.
on my phone. Still feel
Yes. No,
by
Half Alive.
Alive is
It's
such a good
crazy.
song. And we've been watching football this weekend. They used a clip from that in like transition. Like
They
the
did-
B
oh,
footage for the
man.
football where they're like scrolling over the field. They were using Still Feel, and I was like,
That's
whoa.
awesome. That
I
is
was really
such a
excited
good
by that.
song. Their new
That's such a
album.
good song.
The new album. It's funny because like I love it, but it is a little weak on like the last few tracks, to be honest, for me at least.
Yeah, the problem with it is they put Still Feel on it.
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
had heard that song prior to this album. And I was like, oh, this is on. I'm going to listen to this whole album. And then I was like, it's sort of like there's one really, really awesome song. And I guess that's a problem when you're making a whole album. Is that a lot of the other
Right.
stuff like doesn't ever live up to that.
Well, like on there, like okay, Runaway, Maybe, Still Feel, and Arrow. Those are like those 5 songs are like perfect songs to me. But then everything else is just kind of like, they're good songs, but they're not impactful.
Yeah. I think it's funny how we met for music that we really like. We don't speak a large amount of time for a couple of years, and then one of the songs that I'm like actively currently listening to is one he brings up on his own. So
Yep.
it never changes.
No, it's a good relationship we got.
We talk about music every couple of years.
It goes beyond the physical plane.
Yeah. There has been a time
project and talk about music.
Yeah.
I have been listening to Still Feel in my car in my room, and Zane has also. I didn't know, and he didn't know, but we were connected in that.
That's right.
I have to listen to this song on my way home.
It's a good
Oh,
song.
it's so good.
You like that one song I linked to you forever ago. I used it as a Snapchat meme, and then you messaged me on Snapchat. It's like, what's the name of that song you used? Oh, what was that?
I don't remember it.
For it. But I guess while I'm doing that, Zane, what did you want to talk about? What was your topic?
Well, it was kind of like making music as one of the topics.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know like how like what you guys, I guess if you guys make anything.
Never. We've actually talked a little bit about you helping us out with an intro bit for this, but I've got the skin and the bones of it, and then I got to send it to you.
Yeah.
No, well, you played.
Yeah, I was in a band for a few years
in the intermission.
Okay, yeah, right, yeah. Tell me about that, real quick.
Him.
Oh, sorry, you said me, and I thought you said May, and that's the name of one of my coworkers. So I was like, I think that's
tell me about your coworker, please.
Well, my coworker is no longer my coworker. They moved recently.
So that sucks.
Now we're doxing.
But
ooh.
I was in a band from freshman year of high school to senior year of high school. And I only stopped being in a band because when we went to college, a lot of them moved out of state.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So we had that sort of like, this is what I'm doing in my free time because I'm in high school feel to it, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But like, we all really did like each other. It was, let's see, it was me, Hampton, Ethan. I played bass.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And I still play bass. But we met through a music program that we were basically all taking lessons from the same guy. And he was like, hey, I can't really like teach you all how to do anything. You guys just have to like play now. So he was like, so I put you all in a room together, and instead of taking lessons, you get to play music. And we basically just started writing our own music and like playing covers.
Was it good?
Subjective.
I think that's subjective. I think our parents thought it was good.
Well, okay. Let me rephrase. Do you like it? Did you like it?
Do I like the songs we played? As a person who plays an instrument, yes. We made a lot of decisions that we made because they were fun to play. Like, we had one song where like every other measure was a signature change.
Oh my God, I love that.
And we had another song where every other measure we swapped time signatures. So it was common time, and then it was 3/3 time. So for 2 measures it was common time, and then for 2 measures it was 3/3 time, and then for 2 measures it was common time, and 2 measures it was time.
Cool. I'm into that.
And you play guitar?
Do I play?
No, sorry, Jake. I pointed at Jacob. Jacob's guitar is in
I don't play very well, but I have a guitar correct.
So we played a bunch of songs that may not have, sounded good, but were really fun to play.
Yeah.
And I would say that we all really enjoyed the time we had in the band together. And the lead guitar player, Hampton, I don't know what he is doing right now, but I know that he's in college, and I'm pretty sure his dream career is to be either a rock star or a professor of music.
Well, I think about you can't judge if you're like in a group or something. You can't be like, well, it's not like the most popular songs, or maybe like the common person doesn't think these are good. But you play like what you as a group like. We did a
right.
And I'm glad I did it because I can legitimately say I was in a band. But we were doing a thing. Some of my friends from high school, Noah, who was on the last episode, and our friends, I don't know if they're going to listen to it, Gabe, who wants to be on a later episode, and Jordan Fields, who is still actively doing music, great musician. We met up to do just a little thing where we were jamming out because they could play instruments and they wanted me to sing. And it was just us on weekends just playing music that we really liked. It wasn't anything super popular. If anybody knows who Blink-182 is, they had a band called Boxcar Racer that's not that well known. It's basically Blink-182. I don't know the differences, but I know it's still Tom DeLonge, right?
You're going to have to check that one because I certainly don't know.
Yeah, it's Boxcar Racer. Blink-182 still. And we did just like pop punk songs that I can remember off the top of my head. I think we did a Neck Deep song. We did a Moose Blood song. This band's going to be nothing to most people because that's the point I'm driving home is that you don't play music that's like the most popular stuff. We played at a benefit we ended up getting asked to play at a benefit concert that a friend of ours was putting on for the homeless shelter in our hometown. And the bands there were playing like country music and folk music. And then
there's this punk band that comes up on stage. And then
just us playing this like sad, feelsy punk music. And no one cared about us. And we weren't like a hit. But we played music that we liked. And that's what, that's why we did
it. Yeah. No, that's
I wouldn't have done it if someone had been like, you want to play some folk music in front of a bunch of people? And I'm like, no. I want to sing a folk song. But the people who sang folk songs did it really well. And that's what they like. And it lined up perfectly. But yeah. We had a lot of fun with it, and I think if I was forced to do something or did a song, if the group had decided to do something that I hated, it wouldn't have been an enjoyable experience. But in your sense, your friends did that. The opportunity exists because people come together with a common interest in music that they like, and then that's where it gets made. By the way, the song I was trying to think of earlier, I sent Tom was "Baby I'm Yours" by Breakbot.
Oh yeah, that's the meme song, right? The bass.
Yep.
The meme song was a good song.
Yeah, I like that song. I unironically like both that song and "Shooting Stars."
Yeah,
"Shooting Stars" by
Bag Raiders.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Meme one for a long time.
That's right. No, okay. I'm very jealous of the fact that you guys had like people you could play with because that's actually a problem I have when it comes to making music, even like doing covers and stuff. I am so particular about how music I'm involved with is made. And I don't really know why. It's just I have this perfectionist attitude when it's something that I'm making, I guess, specifically. Like in choir or like that stuff, it's just like, yeah, I just walked in and I sang some notes. That's good enough for me. But like when it's something that I am like into and putting like effort into, it has to be this certain way. Otherwise, I'm like, I don't want that. And that's why I only make music by myself because I end up feeling bad there is somebody I know who there would be times when I would say like, hey, can you play this for like 4 measures and then go to this next chord? And they would be like, I don't know what you're talking. What does that mean?
I don't know what that means either.
Well, yeah.
Well,
so
he didn't actually explain the entirety of the process, so someone who was a master guitar player couldn't have done it either.
Well, no, it's just. Well, I'm just saying because it's like I'm just like, hey, play a C chord for 8 beats, basically. Okay. And they were like, I don't really understand what you're telling me to do.
Well, I think at that point, it's more you don't have someone who knows enough about music.
Well, right, and like that was the thing because it was like I would come across stuff like that where they are like really talented at playing guitar, like they are very talented, but it was just there was this weird disconnect, and that's something that I come across with all the time is like a disconnect with just making music.
Artists.
Kind of, yeah, and it's so like the music I typically make too is I guess you could say it's like this weird alternative electronic pop kind of sound. Like right now I'm working on a song that's I'm trying to think of anything that's like
we can link his SoundCloud in the description.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. I'd appreciate that, even though there's like nothing new on there. Actually, while you mentioned my SoundCloud, I'll tell you what my
Patreon.
Start my new album. Oh boy, no.
This episode has been sponsored by Zane's music, or no, vice versa. This episode is sponsoring.
Oh man, No. My most popular song on there that's technically an original work is let me find it. No, so my most popular song on SoundCloud right now is called Reborn, and it's inspired by a song from the cartoon Steven Universe.
Okay.
That I love that show. Even though I haven't watched it in like forever, and the music from that show is so good. I'm very inspired by it. The song, it basically the original song "Dance of the Swords" or whatever it's called. It's a like a drum machine, a piano that has like a waltz kind of feel to it, and then like a synth like here or there. So I basically was like, oh, I like that song. I want to make my own like song that sounds just like it, but it's not the same at all. That has 115,000 plays.
Whew, that's a lot.
Damn.
And then the other like there's one that has 3,279 plays. And the thing is that that's also a Steven Universe instrumental that someone asked me to make. And then everything else has like 300 plays or 58.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm not saying I'm not proud of those songs, but what I am saying is that it's a little disappointing to have to like work on something that I love and then like, oh, it only got this many plays. That's cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is notoriety is only going to come with time. Like,
Right, yeah.
Stay consistent.
Yeah, it's a little weird. Wow, I just realized that song that I made, the Steven Universe one, has more plays. This one that's by a well-known artist on SoundCloud.
Huh.
That's weird.
do a collab with him. Maybe you get your name up.
Be in the
Reach out
next
to
one.
him.
I did
I think
download
the
the
thing
synth
with that-
pack.
Yeah, stemming from just music in general to just like created content. I agree with you a lot earlier. I had a lot of feelings with just in this with the podcast. It's something more when your name's on it and it's something that you do a majority of the work on versus whether it's when we were in choir where you're a part of something like such a large scale, or even if it's just like something simple in class like a group project versus like your paper. I think it's very common that there's a lot more weight in something when your name is the
author.
either the only thing,
Right.
if you're the author, the sole
Creator.
creator,
Right.
if you were the driving force behind the creative stuff. But I think a disconnect between the paper, like doing schoolwork, versus the podcast and stuff. I'm not graded on how many views this podcast gets. I'm not
But I think
whatever.
that makes you
But there
appreciate
is, but without that, what there is though is the personal thing that I want this to be well received, and I think a lot
Right.
of people who do content creation, whether it's YouTube or music or art or anything, there's something really important that you have to establish early on is that you don't make, and this goes back to the band thing too, you don't make something and you don't put it out there and you should judge it based on if it blows up or if it does super well. If it does, that's awesome. But what if this episode of the podcast gets 2,000 views?
Next week's 20.
But 1,900 of them only listened to the first 5 minutes, and the other 100 hated the content and they'll never come back to it.
Right.
Versus I'd rather have 10 people listen to it
And be like, wow, this is
enjoy
great.
the ride and then enjoy the content we make, and then just be like, that I want to make content that's a big thing. And with anything, and when I was little, I did YouTube videos because I thought that was what would be fun. But even back then, there's like a little sparkle of whenever you put something out into the world that you've created, that maybe this will blow up, or maybe people will like this and it'll go really big, and this will be the start of me doing this, because that's, I think, what everybody who does anything creative wants, is that this can become bigger. More people enjoy it. It can, whether it's a source of income, whether it's just you have a larger audience. I mean, everybody wants their stuff that they create to be viewed. But I think the most important thing is if you create something that you enjoy, you do something that you're passionate about, that you like, whether it's well received or not, if you consistently do that, what you find is you'll build up an audience of people who enjoy hearing what you're making or viewing what you're making. I think you should be more focused on the people who are making something that you're happy to make and put out there and proud of, versus putting out something for the sole purpose of it getting views. Not saying you do that, not saying, that
Well,
with the
no,
podcast.
I completely agree. And honestly, like I do get caught in that kind of in that mood of like, man, I wish more people like would recognize that I have a talent and that I do
Yeah.
make, because I do think that what I make is good. And that's something that I am actually very happy with. And hopefully it's not like an ego thing either. But like when I'm making something, it takes a while for me to find something that I am uh um branching out with. And so like song I was talking about that I'm
Is he
when I
coming in clear for you? Because okay, sorry, I don't want to
No,
interrupt.
you're
We're Wi-Fi spiking, so we make sound pretty bad
okay.
when you hear. So I'm just losing a lot of what you're saying, but Tom can still hear you. So
Okay. No, I was just gonna say that the thing is when it comes to like making music is that I I end up kind of forgetting what that like euphoria moment is when I make something that sounds good. And recently I had that feeling where it's just this utter joy hearing something that I've made. Because I think for a while, like back home, making art just at all just sucked. Because I went to community college for 2 years, where I'm from, and so I was just kind of like stuck all the time. And now I'm like living in a dorm on a campus. And granted, it's only 45 minutes away from home, but I like feel so much better about everything.
I
And
relate so much to that.
Right, yeah, and that affects my art. Like I still have trouble making stuff because it's like, again, I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my music and everything needs to be perfect. But the fact that I've made something new already and we're only 3 weeks into the school semester, to me that's a big sign that like I'm getting back into feeling good about my art, because things like the Steven Universe thing that I made, both of those songs, I look at them and I'm like, I'm not as proud of those because they're not completely original, but
Yeah.
I should be proud of those things because I did make them because they were
Yeah.
inspired by something I care about.
And about what you were saying about being on the college campus and all that. I think on paper and explaining it like this, it's like a well, yeah, duh. But in anything with a creative process, your environment and your mindset going into making something are super, super, super important.
Yes.
And you may not think about that going into it, or someone from the outside looking in on what you have made. But like with this, the environment's nothing crazy. It's just us sitting around in Jacob's room. But you can look at it from like, I'd say it's a more enjoyable experience us being in the same room versus the disconnect of all sitting at our monitors and stuff like that. But further that, it's the environment of, we're all in college, we've all met through this, we've known each other forever, but, I'm pointing at Tom. We've definitely talked more.
He hates me.
Well, no, I'm saying I've known him outside of this, but I've met you from coming to college. And then just being in this whole last year sort of thing, that's what's created the mindset of, Jacob, just turn all the lights on.
I'm gonna turn it down.
No, it's fine. It's just you turn them all on in a dark room.
But I didn't expect it to be so bright so fast.
I'm waking up now that the lights are on. I was falling asleep over here.
It's getting dark.
Yeah, I think it's super important to
It's changing colors.
be around people who are supportive.
Yeah,
creating stuff that you're happy with, that you can share with people, and then them tell you what they enjoy about it, what they didn't enjoy about it, or just overall this celebration of people making stuff.
Right. But yeah, no, music is definitely like the thing that I see myself doing. I can't see myself doing anything else, even if it's just doing like being in the industry itself and maybe not even being an artist, even though that's like my optimistic dream and my optimistic hopes are that I will be able to sustain a living off of performing and writing music. But even if I don't get to that, it's like I could never see myself like stopping my creative process when it comes to music, because it means too much to me to ever give up. Like there's nothing that would make me give up music and making music and listening to music and loving it.
I just think it's a really like awesome place to be in, knowing yourself and knowing, like, finding something that you are that passionate about to be able to chase.
Yeah.
And whether, and like you said, whether or not it's if your involvement is you are your own artist and you're successful in that walk, or if you're working in the industry, you're still involved in it. And just working in the industry doesn't mean that you can't also be an artist. That's just not your your breadwinner. But yeah, I mean, that's with this sort of make a lot of connections because this is the only creative thing that I'm actively doing.
I wouldn't say that though, because a big thing for me is like I really believe that like every hobby in its own way is creative in its own thing. Like so, this is like a really random tangent I'm about to just start kind of walk. I'm just gonna walk on it a little bit, but like I like to work out a lot, and so a lot of people are like, that's not a creative thing to do is to work out.
Yell at the mic.
But I say it's kind of different because in a way you're kind of creating, in a way, your body in a way, like you're kind of shaping yourself, and I think that's in a way creative art.
Yeah.
You are your own sculpture style.
I think there's lots of things people don't consider as being creative, but in reality, everybody's a little creative, and that's all to their hobbies.
You can look at it less as like, you know, with the music and the podcast and anything like that, creative in a sense that it's made for other people.
That's probably true.
But still, you know, we said earlier, and in the first episode, and I'll leave it in this time, but the driving thing behind this podcast was sort of, we don't make this for an audience. We make this for us because it's a celebration of like what we've been talking about for the last however long. Zane is extremely passionate about music. We're currently passionate about this. You're passionate about working out. Tom talked about magic, something he's extremely passionate about. It's a celebration of that. It's sort of creating this time capsule, something that we can look back on later, sharing our experiences with other people and our friends. And having people on like Zane, who, you know, there is no immediate correlation between creating music and playing Magic the Gathering, but in this span of talking, we have made the jump from there to there because we celebrate things that we're interested in and how they, in tiny little sliver of ways, connect. But yeah, you can continue talking.
Can I ask the viewer a question?
The viewer is the viewer.
Everyone out there who's like listening to this right now, if you're watching on YouTube or anything, just contact Jonathan and tell him what your passion is. Let's do that.
Well, if someone wants to like
DM him on Twitter, his Twitter handle is,
or just your hobby.
Well, no, send him mail.
John's phone number is
6. No, but yeah, I mean, I think it would be really interesting. You know, a lot of the people who watch this are people we immediately know, but stuff that you do. Like, I don't think Noah knows extremely well that you work out a lot and you're extremely passionate about that. I doubt he knows that you play Magic the Gathering.
I'm small right now.
I think it would be interesting to see that if people just say, you know, hey, I'm passionate about this, or I do this, and this is my hobby, this is my collection, this is what I create, this is what I do in my free time, and it brings me a lot of enjoyment. If you want to comment that.
Let's celebrate this, guys.
But yeah, I think that's the whole point of the podcast is we're not making this to be the next Joe Rogan show. We're not making this to garnish a bunch of views. The point of it is supposed to be that this episode is we sit around and we talk about things that we really, people who listen to this, Zane really likes making music. I like making music, but I play the guitar. Or I really like, you know, there's a lot of different things we just do with music. I listen to a lot of this genre, or like jazz, or I break down the music theory of this. Music theory is a whole ball game.
Oh, yeah.
Assistant play jazz earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we did.
We had our friendly AI in the room play jazz. We can't say her name or else she'll come to life.
Everyone has a different, all adds to the value of what we had to say.
So, yeah, I guess plugging our social medias that I've made. If the Twitter page, talk_louder. If anyone DMs or tweets at that, what they want to talk about.
We'll put them on the screen now.
No, because this gets edited tonight. This is posted before.
We should read comments we like.
It can be posted in the next one.
John, can we read the comments on the next one for the video for this one? Just some of them.
If there are comments.
If there's a good comment, which there'll be 0 good comments. If you have a good comment,
anyone leaves anything positive to say.
If you comment, you have to now purposefully make it an angry, mean-spirited comment.
I will say, and it's at the tail end of the podcast, we're probably about the stage we're gonna wrap up. One of immediately the nicest thing I got. I won't name drop anybody who's not actively a part of the podcast. If they want to be, I will. If they comment on anything, but if it's a message just directly to me, on like my personal like Snapchat and my phone number. I'm not gonna name drop people. But within an hour of uploading the podcast and kind of just spreading the news through my social media, Snapchat and Instagram, I drove home to London. It was in like an hour drive, and on the way there, somebody reached out to me and just said, like, this isn't the Joe Rogan podcast. This isn't like some major, super high budget thing that's well done, but it's something that's really cool because it's really nice to listen to something that's so laid back and conversational. And I think that's the point, is that it's surprising how many things that we do connect us as a whole. So that was probably the most rewarding thing I heard from the last episode. But I did hear a lot of really, really, really nice things that I'm super thrilled to hear. I guess we'll go ahead and say, if you listen to this, we love you. We'll go ahead and move to wrap up this one. We got
you get like 4 heart emojis.
Yeah, I like everyone's comment that they leave on the YouTube video. So if you want a free like and heart, leave a comment. We're gonna make a move to get it on the podcast app, but I think I have an idea of how to do that, and I've done research and I know how to do it. But I think,
and if you know how to do it, comment below.
No, I know how to do it. I don't want people to. I think I want to wait a bit. I like leaving it on one platform for a while, and then a month or 2 down the road, once we iron out every other kink,
let it simmer.
We'll then start moving to a little bit more ambitious level of the project.
I actually have one quick question. Real quick.
Oh, okay. He's got a final question.
This is for the 3 of you. Which way do you put your toilet paper on the holder thing?
The right way.
The right.
Which way is
the
that?
new bread conversation.
The way it's not backwards.
Toilet paper hangs off the roll towards you, not towards whatever surface it's on.
I agree.
Towards me, yeah.
Everyone says towards you?
I will go ahead and say, if I had to make a conscious effort to do it, that's how I would. However, I did that today. Changed out the toilet paper. I don't know which way it's facing because I just put the holder on and slammed it.
Okay, but
I make a conscious effort. It's always towards
If you
me.
consciously did it, it's coming towards you.
Yeah.
Facing.
Yeah.
Okay, because my damn roommate is a psychopath, and I know why now.
Because
He puts it the other way. It does it on the back
Well, he
side.
could be like me and he just doesn't think about it when he's doing it. It's a 50-50 shot where it ends up.
He's a madman.
Maybe not, but now I have to reach even further for it.
If you consciously put it facing
He's
away
sabotaging
from you, then
Yeah.
yes, you're a serial killer.
You're in danger.
We're creating a list of things that qualify you as a serial killer. So right now we're on the fence about the bread tie. I say if you twist and tuck, you're a serial killer.
It's
furthermore,
it's best. You gotta get a third one. Best 2 out of 3.
Yeah. So next week we'll have someone ask a question about what you do in your daily life,
And then all of our further guests can have a psychosis like a psychology analysis.
After all that, like I said, Zane, thank you so much for being on. Thanks for talking with us. Thanks for throwing in a last minute serial killer question for us to analyze.
Of course.
Guests. It's been a whole lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Jacob, thanks for being here. Jacob, thank you for letting us your room.
You're welcome. I like being able to see you all. So hopefully in the future, even if we don't come back here,
It may not be here, but we will definitely try and do the 3 of
We
us
can
in the
find a
same
place.
room. Probably just gonna be my place next time.
I mean, my place has suitable locations.
we will
but-
try everybody's place and see who is the best.
Yeah, we'll take a sampler.
My
Well,
hair
that's
is so
discussion
gross
we
right
have between the weeks. But the listener, as I said earlier, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for all the positive comments and any feedback or anything you'd like us to change. Think that we could do a little bit better to make the experience more enjoyable. Definitely reach out to us, me personally, comment at our Twitter, any of those means. It's extremely appreciated. If you enjoy the podcast, share it with somebody that you think also would like to talk about it, who may twist and tuck their bread, because you need to show them the light. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.
We can still talk to Zane, but I gotta go ahead and record.
How are you?